Hello, everyone. Hope you had a great trading week once again. This was quite a week this week. This is the week I've been waiting for weeks. I mean, I have been calling this down move way back here. It should never have gone up here. And this is what happens when it makes a parabolic move up. It makes a parabolic move down. And I've been calling it and calling it and calling it and look like an idiot for the past, 5 weeks or so, saying we're heading lower. And I just want to point out a couple of things I've heard this whole time I didn't want to mention because I didn't want to sound even stupider at the time. I actually heard someone along the way here, I don't remember when it was, actually come on CNBC and say the market will never go down ever again. I actually heard him say that it will never go down ever again. And, if people like that, it's like saying in the summertime when the weather's really warm and beautiful, saying, oh, it's never going to be cold ever again. Like, really? You just wait a few months, it'll be right back down to where it was. and I said this whole time, a couple of videos ago, you can go back and look at it, that, we had a period like this before, a couple of years ago. And last time we did this, when the market corrected down, it erased all of these gains. And, I kept wanting to point this stuff out to people, and, a lot of people were giving me flack saying, oh, the VIX doesn't matter. Now the VIX is up at 40. I'll just snap that on the chart for you real quick. I mean, tell me if that's, not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen with the VIX that high. I mean, the VIX doubled from the 20 levels that I wanted it to be at for good volatility. So because the VIX is so high, you can expect some action next week. And I'm not saying necessarily down action. It's going to be bouncing like crazy, especially after what we've seen. And with the VIX so high, it's going to be violent. So, but it's way more fun than this crap, just moving up. We want it to move. We want the market to move in several directions. These past 2 days have been market making dreams for people, or money making, not market making. I actually heard another person on CNBC say, you buy the market until no one's buying anymore. So, I don't know why it's going up, but I'm going to keep buying anyway. I mean, that kind of mentality is ridiculous. Who has that strategy? I don't know. I think it was somebody actually on the floor. I don't know how you can have that strategy, but, because a day like this day will happen. And I do want to talk about Thursday. I will get to that. You can see that, the market wanted to go down when we have these big sell-offs on weak rallies. It's proof that the market is not wanting to go up anymore, and it's inching to find something to just rocket it lower, and that's what happened. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about this action here. Let's go down to, the hourly. Yeah, let's go down to 15 minutes. Okay. This is our parabolic down move. Let's go down to 5 minutes. Okay. So this is when the market crashed here. And each one of these candles is 5 minutes each. And everybody's saying it's computer programs that screwed everything up. It's all computer programs. It can be anything else. It couldn't be the fact that we were overbought for months and months and months. It's only the fact that computers screwed everything up. I want you to go back and look at the 1987 crash in the market. We were down 23% that day. 23%. And there were no computers trading on the floor then. So you want to explain to me what happened then? Back then, I can tell you what happened. When the market started to roll over and fall, people were calling their brokers. Because the only way you could sell out of a position is call your broker. And market makers on the floor were giving them really big spreads. We're calling huge. Usually you only have like a couple of cents in your spread, or probably a couple dollars in spreads. So you got the low end of that if you're a buyer. And, blah, blah, blah. That's what happened. And, then you could only call your broker to get out of a position. Imagine if that was the way you could only get out today. Luckily you had sell programs that were triggered here, sell stops, because you would have been screwed. Literally screwed. If you had to call your broker, it would have fallen so much harder if we didn't have computers. And people are saying it's a bad tick down here. When you have a bad tick, it literally looks like this. It goes down and comes right back up as fast as my mouse is moving. That's what happens. But, it was rolling over, and now it was chugging through all these sell stops along the way. And what happens when you put a stop loss order in is it's to market. And just like what happened in 1987, market makers all over the place were giving you wide spreads, like really wide spreads, because they're not going to want to buy from you when the market's doing this. So in order to make up their money, they're going to give you a huge spread. There's only a handful of them that want to trade when the market's doing this. The market makers, most of the market makers leave the floor. So it's rocketing lower and lower and lower. And finally some shorts want to cover and they cover in mass on the way back up. That's what happened. Okay. Everyone's going to tell you, and they're probably going to have, hearings on it and try to figure out what the hell happened. But everyone's going to tell you it was a computer or it was some guy. I actually heard somebody say it was some guy that put a B on his system instead of an M for shares and ended up doing 1 billion instead of 1 million shares. I mean, that's nonsense. If it was that easy to manipulate the market, don't you think everybody would be doing it? Or the fact that, high frequency trading is to blame? If it was that easy, why didn't they do it every day? Why do they wait until one random day to do it? I would do it every day if I knew it was that easy to make money in the market. Are you kidding me? It doesn't make any sense. It did this because we were so overbought. All these traders that bought it on the way up, they put all their stop losses in. And look what happens to them when they do that. I mean, they deserve it. I'm sorry. If you bought at the beginning of this week, if you're one of those people that said the market will never go down ever again, you deserve to be burned. If you believe it was never going to go down, I'm sorry. I have no sympathy for you. So that's what I have to say about that. And you can see, I told you we were going to be really volatile. You can see these are, 200-point moves, 50-point moves here. This was Friday's action. This was exciting. You got to expect more of the same. And of course, every rally, we're going to have some rallies next week that look nice. And I encourage you, if there's one bit of advice I want to give is do not buy them, because the CNBC is going to go out there and say, oh, it's over. And, we're only going to go up again from here. And, do not believe a word they're going to say, because it's going to come right back down. They're going to sell into strength. And then, they're probably going to buy into dips too, but, they're really going to sell into strength. Another thing I wanted to say back here is, everyone's going to want to investigate what happened here, but I guarantee you if it happened the other way around, if we were up 900 points, they wouldn't say a word. They'd just be happy. Everybody would be, jumping up with joy of what happened. They wouldn't, call hearings and try to figure out what happened and call the SEC and try to get people in jail. It's only because it went down. There are ways to make money when the market goes up. So, this is not a tick that just one bad tick that bounced down and came back up. And some stocks it was. So, some stocks did that, and those stocks are, need to be looked at. But the market as a whole, I'm sorry, I don't believe you. And you can even look at other markets that aren't in the stocks. If this happened in the stock market, you can understand that pretty much every stock did this at the same time. But why in the world, you can't explain why it happened in something like, currencies. Where is it? This is the Australian dollar here. The euro did the same thing. Bonds did the same thing. I mean, you look at this and you can't explain it. So, just believe me, if it was that easy to manipulate the market, people would be doing it every day, not randomly at some random times. So also, I wanted to show you this rollover in the euro. It's amazing right there.